and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading, and what that is every weekend I go ahead and let you, the viewer, choose from one of 3 tarot or oracle decks. After you choose, I will go through and do a quick spread to see what the energies will be like for the next 7 days. This is just a general reading, so what I do just read the cards as the images entail. I like to think of tarot and oracle as like almost like interpreting your dreams. I just look at the symbols and see what's there. If the message does not resonate, you do not have to accept it. Also, it does not have to be the week of June 6th through June 13th in order for this to resonate. If you were drawn to this video at any other time, there might be a message contained for you. If you ever want to jump straight to the reading, the timestamps are listed in the description box below, as are the names and authors of the decks that I use. Now today I wanted to do kind of a special theme. I am pulling out some cards that we haven't seen in a little while. The first deck we have is the Greer Tarot. The second is the Zillich Tarot, and the third is the Everyday Tarot. And what you'll see here is in the background we have 2 oracle decks. After I pull your spread, I am going to pull 1 card from each of the oracle decks. Because this, I think in the next few days, it is it's a national day. It's a World Oceans Day. So it's celebrating, kind of like Earth Day. It's celebrating the oceans. And so I did want to go ahead and pull out some mermaid cards. I know that seems a little bit cheesy, but I assure you both these decks have really poignant images and really, really nice quotes on it. The first deck is the Oracle of the Mermaids, and then the other one is it's listed in the description box, but it's like advice from for mermaids and dolphins. And I know the artwork might seem a little cheeseball on this one, but the author is like a PhD, and believe it or not, the keywords on this deck are very inspiring. I always like to pull out this deck anytime I'm feeling a little bit blue, because it always makes me feel better. But I'll go ahead and let you choose your decks. If you need more time, please pause the video. The numbers and the timestamps are listed in the description box below, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move the other decks up. I do have stones with each of them, so as we go through each of the reads, I will go ahead and tell you about the stone. The first deck is the Greer Tarot. This is actually the first deck that I formally learned tarot on, and with it I have a clear quartz. So let's go ahead and see, what is your energies for the week? Let's see, deck number 1. Ooh, that was very clear. Okay, middle of the week. And end of the week. Okay, so let's go ahead and get, okay. The 3 of Swords is kind of popping out a little bit, so we'll take that into consideration. So what is our Oracle of the Mermaid card? Ooh. Okay, and this will be kind of like a guide or a advice card. And this is so cute. I have a little turtle, a little sea turtle with the other deck here. So I like to coordinate my stones. If you hear the rain in the background, it's lovely. It's not even a heavy rain. It's just kind of a light rain, and it's beautiful. It's always nice to kind of pull cards on on a rainy day. I can actually even smell the rain. It's got that beautiful sweet smell. It smells like summer, right? Summer rain. So let's go ahead and get the second oracle card. Wow, the way that these are kind of flying out, the colors, I'm getting a synchronicity here, so we'll go ahead and take both. All right, guys. Wow. Okay. So we've definitely got some energy here. At the beginning of the week, you got the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is definitely, it's about holding one's ground, right? It's about fighting for something, right? Fighting for a cause. But mostly it's about standing your ground. It usually means that there's some kind of opposition that's coming towards you. And what it is that these two cards kind of came out with it, and I felt like the cards were very associated. Sometimes we get a gut instinct that just says, okay, these are affiliated. But underneath the Seven of Wands, you got the King of Swords and the Seven of Cups. So you got two sevens here. You kind of got a seven sandwich here. Behind your King of Swords is the meat of this this beginning of the week. But what I'm seeing here is that I see that there's some kind of situation. To be honest, there's some kind of situation that you have to fight for, but you're feeling a little indecisive about. Like it's almost as if you know that the King of Swords is a very strategic person. He's very mind oriented. And actually, this really does indicate that you are all up in your head. I think at the beginning of the week, you're going to be all up in your head. And it's going to be about some kind of decision that you need to make. And I really do love the artwork for the King of Swords on this, because you see in the background, you see the clouds, the storm clouds, and then you see a lot of foliage. And what it is that around his sword, he has how you've heard the expression, taking the wheat from the chaff, when you're harvesting grain, you separate, the sleeve of the grain. And what he has there is he has the meat of it. And actually I refer to it as meat there. I think what it is I think you're whatever the situation, you are very well versed in all of the details of what you have to make a decision about. It really seems like some kind of situation that's coming to a head that you have to kind of take action about. I do get the feeling as if maybe you have a lot of it could be that somebody's coming at you with a lot of inquiries, but I'm really getting a feeling as if you're fighting for something, right? You're kind of standing your ground about something. The other thing is that the Make a Decision card fell out right underneath the Seven of Cups, which Seven of Cups is being, kind of torn in seven different directions, right? Seven of Cups, you see all the clouds, and you see how the clouds are behind the king as well. You're thinking, right? And cups are emotions. So basically, you're going to be very, very much at the beginning of next week. You're going to be very much in your head, or beginning this weekend actually. You're going to be up in your head about what to do. You want to fight for something. You really want to put effort into fighting for something, but you're a little confused about. It's almost like as if you're torn between. You don't want to take an action for the wrong thing, and you know how to cut to the chase. The King of Swords knows how to get the most. He knows what the most direct action is to take for something. He's very mental. He's very cerebral. And so whatever it is that you are having, I'm getting this real sense because it's the King of Swords in the middle here. I'm getting this feeling like you have but first off, you have the energy to fight, and you have the wherewithal to fight, and you have the knowledge. Like you if you decided to green light something, it would just be all systems go, right? But there's something about this situation that you're hesitating, even though it's almost like you're running over the options over and over and over again in your mind. I do get the feeling as if there's a little bit of pressure to make a decision. It's almost as if you have it. You know what it is almost like. There's a lot of kids graduating from high school or college this weekend, but it's almost like when you're applying to schools and you have to decide what school, like say you're graduating from high school and you have to decide what college you're going to go to, and you've put out 7 applications and you've been approved to all 7 schools, and you just have to decide, okay, do I want to Do I want to move to the other side of the country and live in, go to school here? Do I want to move up north? I'm getting this strong feeling, and because the Seven of Cups is about emotions. I think you're trying to make the right decision on what would make you happy, or what would be the right decision to make. But and I think you're almost getting pressure, like there's some kind of time constraint that's like, okay, hey, you need to do this, and you're kind of keeping everybody at bay, like, okay, I'm deciding, but you're really just kind of going around in circles. You don't know what to choose, and you are still in the Seven of Cups energy, right? You don't know what cup to take. So you are going to be very up in your head towards the beginning of the week. And just to put it out there, your advice card is you have make a decision. And it says, feeling stuck or indecisive, listen to your intuition and make a decision. Oh my gosh. And gosh, guys, this really plays into the middle of the week, because in the middle of the week, you got that King of Cups in the reverse. And oh my gosh, the King of Cups in the reverse, you see how it says, listen to your intuition? I love the synchronicities. And honestly, the colors are very similar too. Look at all the water greens in that. The other thing is green in the chakra colors means heart. So it is almost like listening to your heart. But what it's telling you is in the middle of the week, I feel like you're going to feel a little bit blocked. And I almost feel like you're going to feel almost a little bit emotional about it. I think what's going to happen is, because you're coming out of the King of Swords at the beginning of the week, I think this is a real heart over head kind of situation, and you're staying in your head. You keep running through all the facts of the situation, but for some reason you are really resisting your heart. Like you don't want to make a gut decision on this, but it's almost telling you that you do have to take your heart and feelings into consideration. Maybe it's some kind of offering with a job or something like that. Maybe they'll say, maybe work is saying, okay, I need you to take this new position, but you will have to move, or you'll have to go here. And you're thinking, okay, is that really what I want to do? But instead of saying, okay, instead of kind of going with the gut feeling of, do I want to move? You're kind of saying, well, it's job. You're keeping it all in your head, right? You're not letting your heart make a decision. And by the middle of the week, I almost feel like you're going to feel a little bit numb or blocked, or that the stalemate, is still going to be on. Like you're going to be feeling pressure to make a decision. You're still going to be all up in your head trying to run through the facts, trying to make a facts-based decision, when really it's your gut instinct, or you do need to take, I think you need to take your feelings off the leash a little bit and take into consideration what you want on a gut level. Now, the good news is that by the end of the week, you got the Fool. And gosh, guys, I think by the end of the week, you're going to have a decision made. You're going to have a decision made, and this is the great thing about cards, is it's not telling us which cup you chose. And just for the record, the King of Cups is holding a cup, right? It means you pulled one, right? You pick up one of the cups at some point, right? But by the middle of the week, you were still hesitant. By the middle of the week, you had not picked a cup. By the end of the week, I think you're going to have a course of action in mind, and you're going to be real excited. I think you're going to have the decision made where you're going to be ready. You might not have reported, like, how do I say this? You might not have formally said, okay, this is my choice, but I think at least by the weekend or by the end of the week that you're going to feel excited about the option that you want to go for, and you're going to be ready to say, yes, this is my choice. So it could follow over to the following Monday or whatever, or if this is a work situation, or it could very well, it could be a love situation, but the King of Swords is definitely more of a mental guy. And the thing about the Seven of Cups is that you have different outcomes. Like, one of the cups is full of jewels. One of them has a mask. One of them has a wreath. That means victory. The other one has a dragon, which means willpower, right? Or some kind of clout. So, again, you have different decisions here. I do think that you should probably incorporate your feelings a little bit. There might be a reason why you're not letting your feelings off the leash, because maybe you're afraid that you'll make an impulsive decision. The Fool is a little bit of an impulsive person, but he's very positive with it. He goes forth with the faith that the universe is going to catch him, right? He's stepping off the cliff, right? And you might even have a friend with you with that endeavor, because the dog is a loyal companion. It's someone who's there for you. Now, the other advice cards, because you saw the first advice card that says, make a decision, listen to your intuition, and, make a choice. Now, the other cards that you got is you got Guide. So that's your oracle card. And the guide says a guide, a mentor, or a trustworthy ally. And gosh, guys, I really do think that maybe the dog in the picture, a trustworthy ally, either that, or we are seeing two kings. It's possible that these are two different people. But maybe you have a King of Swords who's asking you to make that choice, and by the middle of the week you feel a little emotionally conflicted. Either that, or this could be that by the beginning of the week, there might be choices that need to be made, and that there's two parties involved, and the other party might be feeling a little bit in their emotions, or they might be feeling a little emotionally adrift. When I see the King of Cups in the reverse, sometimes you can be a woman in that energy, and what it usually means is when you're feeling a little bit emotionally unsteady, you might be feeling like a lot of, like, you might be feeling waves of emotion, or like one minute you really do feel upset about something and you don't know how to express it. So you could be also, that's another way that you could be looking at it, is that you could be a real rational person, and you might be dealing with someone who might be dealing with a lot of challenging feelings right now, someone who's a little bit moody, or just feeling out of sorts. But the other card that you got was Make a Wish. And it says, this is a magical moment. Make a wish and enjoy its manifestation. And gosh, guys, I really feel like the Seven of Cups, make a decision and make a wish. Because you look at all those cups, and it looks like there's a different wish in every single. And of course, some of the cups are not all that pleasant. Like you see a snake in one cup, and so I think part of this decision, or part of the resistance to the decision, is that you've heard the expression "all that glitters." Maybe you think that it's something that's going to be a great choice, but then you might be hesitant because you're afraid of doing something impulsive and getting a negative outcome. But it is definitely telling you that if you're having trouble making a choice, that you may want to, that there is a guide or a mentor available, and that this decision, if you listen to your gut and maybe get some advice with, to help you sort out your thoughts, because I do feel a lot of racing thoughts with this. But I do think that it would be that it is saying that this is a magical time, and the Make a Wish with the Fool, that's really, really positive. That's such positive energy. I think that whatever decision that you make is going to be a good one. But definitely, the only other thing that I kind of see with this is maybe you don't trust your emotions. You're afraid to really let your heart, weigh in on this, because you think that that this needs to be made rationally. But I do think that if you get a second opinion and then incorporate what you think is best, that you'll make the right decision. And that definitely looks like a magical outcome. I think by the end of the week you'll be off in the right direction, and it'll be a very strong new start for you. So guys, that's your week. That's very positive. I like that. All right, so let's go ahead. You're hearing the rain outside. I do. Oh my gosh. I like it when it's just like that. It's not too heavy, but you hear it, and you can smell the rain and hear the raindrops. So the second deck that I have is a watercolor deck. It's really beautiful. It's called the Zillich Tarot. It's by a German artist, and then it's published by U.S. Games. And then the stone is it is an amethyst, and it's actually the first stone that I've ever bought for tarot. So let's go ahead and see what deck 2. What is the what kind of week are you looking at? What is the energy for deck number 2's week? And let me go ahead, and these kind of flipped out over. Let me see. Oh, thank you. Okay. I'll make note of the other cards. Wow, that's really positive energy, guys. And let's go ahead and see what's your Oracle of the Mermaid card. Wow, oh, that's awesome. For the record, the Queen of Wands was about to come out, and I almost see these two cards together as like a variation of the Queen of Wands. Sometimes cards can come out in different orders and kind of not mean exactly the same thing, but it kind of gives it a certain nuance of similar kind of strong energy. So let's go ahead and see what's your other card. Oh, wow, this is great. See, I love these cards because they're very positive and they give very strong messages. I know we got quite a few here, but all right. So at the beginning of the week, we got the card, which is the Strength card, and it has the lion. And now the keywords on it are a little bit different. The keyword on this one says lust. And so lust, I also kind of read as just having a passion. You know, sometimes that's the meaning of the Strength card, is when you have kind of an unbridled passion for something, and you do have to try to, you don't have to control it, but you want to temper it, you want to rein it in, or at least have a handle on it, right? You don't want to let the power get out of control or let the obsession get out of control. So I think it also just means strength. Strength is, it means that even though that you want something, even though you may want something very desperately, you're not going to let your primal urges run the show, right? So that's kind of the essence, that's the energy at the beginning of the week. And just for the record, there's a lot of red, of course, towards the end of the week we got the sun, but your mermaid card, you got energy field adjustment, which is aura cleansing and health. Look at all the oranges in the hair. Like, I just feel like that is such a synchronicity. Look at that. It's like, it looks like the same hair. But so what it is that I do get the feeling like maybe you might find yourself currently in a situation where you might be really longing for something right now. That could be longing for a vacation. It could be longing for time with your family, but I am getting a little bit, this could be a little bit of a relationship vibe. If you are longing for someone, or you just feel kind of like a strong pull towards someone, like you really just feel like, okay, I'm feeling kind of a magnetism towards something, and it feels like that kind of primal kind of attraction, but you're really trying to control it. You're not trying to. I'm almost getting kind of like, because what it is that the card that usually means like codependency or, feeling tied to something is normally the Devil card. But when you see the keyword lust and strength, it is almost like, it's almost this, I almost read that as like especially with the reds and the golds, which kind of do speak in kind of chakra meanings to me. Like speaks of the root chakra and the sacral and the solar plexus, which is also right around the heart. I really do think that, I think you're getting I think you have a healthier handle on something right now. maybe you really did feel an attachment to something, or maybe you felt like an unhealthy preoccupation with something. And again, that can be anything. That can be, you can have a preoccupation with money matters. You could be really obsessed with making money or having enough money. You could be obsessed with a person or a relationship. But you could be obsessed with, getting a certain job, or anything related to that. But here I see at the beginning of the week, and you'll know your situation, you'll know what it is that this pertains to. I feel like you're going to be in a good place with it. It's almost as if you're really self-monitoring, and you're doing your best to keep yourself on an emotional level. But with the keyword and everything like that, I do feel like that this is something kind of outside of you that's really trying to get you. It's almost like there's something outside of you that's trying to get the lion to roar, if that makes any sense. Now, by the the other, and with the gold cards in this, with the golds and the reds, the other mermaid card that you got was freedom, independence, and self-determination. And I think of determination a lot when I see strength as well, right? So I do think at the beginning of the week, I think you are going to be, trying hard to adjust your energy field. I think you're trying to cleanse your aura. The other thing is with all these chakra colors, and with root chakra, with the red being, kind of your base needs, and strength being your base needs. I think you really are, I think you are doing what's right for you at the beginning of the week. And I think that you might recognize that you might have a few unhealthy kind of attachments right now. I don't think the attachments are out of control, because again, we didn't see the devil card. This is just strength, which is a good, positive card. So, and I absolutely love this image. I really do think that, I think you're getting into a healthy place, and I think part of this strength is recognizing that you do have freedom. Like, there is nothing that can hold you down, that, you're free to do what you want. You don't have to be preoccupied with anything, right? And I think you're getting into a healthy zone with that. It does. It looks like she's almost meditating, right? It looks like she's closing her eyes and, letting the rest of the world fall away. Like, okay, this is the me show. I'm going to do what's right to keep myself in check, right? Now, by the middle of the week, you've got quite a few positive cards here. You got a few strong, got a few majors. Actually, all three cards are majors. The middle of the week, you got the death card. And the death card means transformation. It isn't loss. It can mean loss, but in this circumstance, it means transformation, right? It does kind of mean letting go of something, something that is no longer. If something is no longer of an active purpose, it is a little bit trite. The card readers always say, don't let go of whatever doesn't serve you. And, I know it's not easy. It's so much easier said than done. If you've had situations or relationships in your life that you were very attached to, and you can't, it's not, you can't just, it isn't like cutting a string and then it's like those feelings never existed. It is a process of recognizing and handling your inner beast, right? Your inner lion. And honestly, I do kind of feel like this might be wrapped up in a little bit of pride too. Like, maybe you feel a little bit slighted by something that happened. But by the middle of the week, I do feel like you're going to be I think in a healthy way, you're going to be letting go of some of these attachments, because underneath it, you got the Queen of Cups and you got the Six of Wands. And the Queen of Cups is a beautiful card. And the Queen of Cups is a very, what it is the Queen of Cups is it's knowing your own emotional, it's having a very balanced emotional compass, right? You know your emotions and you know how to handle them, right? And the Six of Wands is victory, right? And we've got more of those kind of pink and red and gold colors. So I think what it is that I think by the middle of the week, by the beginning of the week, you've been working really hard. You've been exuding a lot of strength to try to let go of unhealthy habits, unhealthy attachments. And it's almost like you've been working on yourself to clean out your aura, to adjust your energy, and to really enjoy your freedom. And I think by the middle of the week, you're going to feel better. I feel like you're going to feel like you are actually letting go, like, the things that, because the other thing about death is that it's never anything sudden. Death is not a sudden card. It's usually something that's been kind of deteriorating over time. Like it's something's time to go is usually what it is when you see death in a reading. It means that the cycle is ended, the purpose has been served. And honestly, when you think about it, the cycle of life, the circle of life, if you're a gardener, if you've ever seen that, certain plants, when they decay, they go back into the ground, and the nutrients go to serve the growth of something new. So that's exactly what death is. It's just saying, okay, if something is already passed, if something has served its purpose, is no longer needed, then it is its natural time to go back into the cycle. And sometimes if you're holding on to it, either out of pride or a sense of longing or lust, you might not be letting it go, and you might be blocking the cycle from occurring. Because I know it sounds really woo-woo, but I truly believe that your opinion matters in the energy of the world. So many people, and myself included, I always think, God, there's so many things that happen in life that you think happen to you and not for you. But I assure you, if you are resisting change, if you're not letting go of something, the universe takes note of that. It's not going to rip away something, of course you do have circumstances where sudden things happen, but it tries to let it be on your terms. I truly believe that. The universe is not trying to traumatize you. It's not trying to make anything bad happen. But if you're holding on too long, then eventually it reaches an apex where it has to go away. There has to be some point where, what has ended has ended. And I think by the middle of the week, you're going to be feeling in a much better place. I think you are going to actually let things, it's almost like you're going to be emotionally okay with the death, with whatever has to go. And with the Six of Wands being victory, it really means that that's like a personal victory for you. It's almost like saying, good job, good job. You had all this change, you have something ending so something else can begin, and you're keeping yourself emotionally healthy, and that's going to be a very great victory for you. And it took work, it took strength, right? You had to go through and you had to adjust your energy field. The other thing is that I do think that part of this process is really embracing your freedom, right? You see a phoenix that's kind of flying, and then you see this girl, this mermaid, who's just looking really bad butt there. I think what it's telling you is just that, part of this process is that you are not tied down by anything, right? There is nothing, there's no obligation that has you bound where, again, if you adjust your energy, if you adjust your perception, the letting go of this, what needs to go, will be very seamless, right? It won't hurt as badly because it'll be a natural transition. Now, and so that's going to be your energy by the middle of the week. I feel like you're going to feel like you're in a much better place. And the other thing is that the Queen of Wands that wanted to come out, the Queen of Wands is very fiery, but I almost like this combination better, because being the Queen of Cups, it means that you're emotionally ready, like you're emotionally on par, and then you still have the Wands energy with the Six of Wands, which is just like, way to go, you did it, right? You did it. So I like that spread a lot better. I'm glad that we went with the clarification cards. Now, by the end of the week, you got the first off is you got another major arcana. You got the Sun. And gosh, guys, look at how much red is in that. It's almost like we started more red, and then by the end we ended up more gold. So maybe this is a base desire, because again, it's starting red with like kind of root, and then going sacral, and then, by the end of the week, you're really going to feel like you're in your solar plexus. It's going to, I really feel like in the center of your chest, you're going to feel really warm. But the beautiful thing about the sun is that with that coming right after death, I just feel like this is going to be a really great reward. It's going to be like, coming out of the dark, coming out of the dark. I feel like by the end of the week, whatever it was, this victory that you had with letting go, I think immediately on the heels, it's almost like instantaneously, the moment you let it go, some kind of bright moment is going to happen by the end of the week. I really do feel like you're going to feel happier, like you're just going to, it's almost like you're shedding I feel like this person is taking off the cloak. You're going to just shed the cloak of mourning, and you're just going to come out. You see, it looks like that person took the cloak off and then, is stepping out into the sun. I really do think that, and I think it's a personal choice too, because with the Queen of Cups, that's like saying, okay, I choose to be happy, right? Which is a freedom too. I do see a lot of that with the freedom. You're free to be happy. You're free to go do things that make you happy, right? And I think by the end of the week, you're going to have an opportunity, or immediately you're going to feel like much, much better. And also, if this death card in the middle of the week does kind of, I don't think that you're going to be feeling sad, because again, you have victory right underneath it. But I do think that it might call for you to just approach the letting go in a very mature way. Just kind of, the Queen of Cups keeps her emotions in check. She's very emotionally fulfilled within herself, and she's very much balanced. Now, underneath the sun, you got the Hermit, and you got the Ace of Swords. So one other way that I kind of read this is that there might be some kind of situation that has required, and you would know what it is. It wouldn't be anything new or surprising. But maybe there was some kind of situation that really required a lot of emotional maturity on your part. And you really did. You have kept yourself in check. You've responded. Maybe this was some kind of loss of something, and instead of freaking out or getting mad or crying, you really just kind of said, no. Let me. The other thing that I'm kind of getting is I keep hearing go with the flow. Go with the flow. And you see all those waves of water. I think you did go with the flow. Like, you didn't let anything shock or scare you. You just said, okay. If I am centered, I'm feeling a real centered energy. If I'm centered in my emotions, I will be okay. Whatever happens, I'll be okay. And I think by the end of the week, you're going to get a lot of illumination, because the other thing about the sun is that it's everything coming to light, right? And the thing about the Ace of Swords is that is breakthrough, that's mental breakthrough, and that's clarity. That's clarity. So that can be... and with the Hermit in between, I do think that by the end of the week, you are going to be getting some kind of clarity about this situation. You could potentially be getting news that just kind of brings, confirms everything, that you were. So, again, things coming to light. And the Ace of Swords is clarity, like everything coming out into the open, where you know exactly what was going on and why things were happening. And so the other way that I kind of read that is that maybe you really were kind of holding on to something, and by the middle of the week, by you letting go, or by you just kind of going with the flow and saying, okay, what will be, and I'll be okay. By the end of the week, you are going to feel happy. I do feel like you know what I'm getting? I'm almost getting like a relief, right? It's almost like you did the work to not be, codependent on anything, and you're almost rewarded, because by the end of the week you see the clarity of the situation. And the other thing is that the Hermit is also very meditative. I'm getting a real meditative vibe, right? Like he clears his energy field too, right? What he does is he goes up to the mountaintop, and you see in this card, you see mountains underneath, and it's like he's levitating. He's hovering over his problems, right? And by the end of the week, I do think that you're going to be pulling into yourself. You might be kind of, going away. Maybe you're staying inside, or just, kind of taking some time to decompress. And you're going to be thinking about everything that happened, because I am getting a strong sense that on the outside, You might look very, very quiet, like nothing's going on, but everything I see here, it's like it's in the inside. This is an under the surface week for you. Everything it's almost like no one's seeing your struggle, but inside of you, you're adjusting your energy. You're recalibrating yourself. And by the end of the week, I do think that you're going to get some kind of reward. There's going to be some kind of moment of joy, but that moment of joy is going to bring you clarity. It's almost like things are going to come to light. The other thing is that I'm feeling that you're going to feel a lot lighter. It's almost like all this work paid off, right? Excuse me. All this work paid off. Now, you might still be pulling into yourself and doing some meditation, like you might be pulling back to look at the situation from kind of a different perspective. But I do feel like you're going to feel a lot. The other thing is that you see that sun in the sky, and you see the sun there and all the reds. I think you're just going to feel very free. It's almost like, you know what, the Ace of Wands is, Ace of Swords is even making me think that, once you let go of all this, you're gonna be asking yourself, gosh, why didn't I do this like a while ago? Why did I let myself feel so bogged down for so long? So yeah, I do think that you're going to feel like I'm hearing the phrase rise above your problems, and I do think that it's going to make you feel a lot happier and a lot lighter. And I do think that you're going to gain a lot of clarity. I think half the clarity is just going to be your own introspection, from you looking at the situation and you doing the internal work. Now, the other two oracle cards that you got is the first one is explore your options. It's time to look at other possibilities. It's a good time to make changes. And remember how we talked about, like, death being the letting go of one thing, kind of the closing of one door to open another. And then the other card is ready, set, go. Now is the perfect moment to dive in and embrace your heart's desire. And I do feel like with the sun and with the colors are very similar. With first off, with the Ace of Swords, the colors are very similar. And the Ace of Swords can be a great new idea too. And you have a lot of Phoenix energy here. But the sun, I really feel like, now is the perfect time to embrace your heart's desire. I do think, the other thing is that with the sun, the ball of light and the energy field adjustment, I feel like the power is within you, and you've had the power the entire time, and that this week you're actually going to put that intention into good use. It's almost like you're gonna redirect your energy. You're gonna redirect your energy where it's actually taking you places instead of keeping you stuck. And it is going to require that you let go a little bit. You might feel like you're leaving some things behind, but I do think by the end of the week you're going to feel very level, like you're going to feel like almost like in a meditative state. You're going to feel like you're in the right place. And there's going to be some great beginnings here, but here it's definitely a mental breakthrough. So if you've either emotionally, I do feel like this is very psychological. I feel like you've kind of needed to keep your desires in check, and by following your desires in the right way, or not going after anything that isn't being equal with you. I think that you're going to go in the direction of a lot of happiness, and it's going to make you lighter. I think it's just going to lift your burden. But it is definitely, with it being the advice is explore your options, ready, set, go, and freedom, energy field adjustment. It's almost like a blinking sign, it's like a neon sign that's saying you can do whatever you want to do. There is nothing holding you back. The only thing that's holding you back is you holding on to something, or you feeling like it's really saying you can have what you want, and you can actually have a lot of happiness if I'm really kind of getting the feeling like they want you to have a little bit more fun. I feel like you've been, again, feeling like gloom and doom with what won't stay, that you're not looking at what is coming in or what's available to you. And But I do think that they want, the universe is almost like saying, have a little bit of fun with it, just adjust your perception, and go out there and, be that little, go out there and get what you want, right? Maybe you can take the lion off the chain a little bit, because it is kind of like all systems go. You just kind of have to be in the right mindset and not, not letting anything hold you back. But wow, guys, that's a really great week. And honestly, by the end of the week, I really feel like you're going to be in a really clear mind space. Like all this adjustment is really going to take place for you, and you're going to feel much better, which that is wonderful. That's good energy. Anytime you see the sun, that's good energy. All right, so we'll go ahead. Last deck, we've got the citrine. I don't know if I said that in the intro. This is a citrine. It's a really pretty one. And we've got the Everyday Tarot. I haven't used this deck in a while. So it's a good little deck. It's a good little handheld one if you just want one that's kind of like a pocket version. All right, so deck number 3. What's the energy for your week? Oh, thank you. Okay, middle of the week. What's the energy? And then end of the week, please. Okay, sorry, this is too many cards. Wow, we got a lot of pages, or we have a few pages. End of the week, please. And then clarity for, thank you. Wow, we got a 2 clarifying a 2. That's pretty crazy. And we do kind of have, oh gosh, guys, I'm seeing a theme here. I'm seeing a theme. 2 opposite directions, opposite directions, opposite directions. Wow, I have not seen that combination. This is one reason why I really do love doing these reads, is because, I can read for myself each day, every day, all day, but, these type of combinations, I really enjoy, picking up on different energy. Sorry if this gets loud. Did I have a flipper in there? No. Okay. A flipped card, not Flipper the Dolphin, even though Flipper the Dolphin might be in there. Might be in that deck. Okay, so let's see here. Yep, I think that's your card. Aw. That really plays into that. Okay. And let's go ahead and get the other advice card. And I'm just going to check one other thing. There was one other card on the bottom of the deck, and I'm kind of feeling like it was related, but let me just see. Okay, we'll go ahead and go without it. Put my sea turtle back. All right, so deck number 3. Wow, guys, I'm seeing a lot of parallels. I'm seeing a lot of, just like I mentioned, we're seeing a lot of separations, like trying to go 2 different directions. The beginning of the week, you got the 2 of Wands. And the 2 of Wands, we had a tarot not too long ago on this, but the 2 of Wands is when you were kind of, you're trying to make a choice. And I definitely feel like in the beginning of the week, you're kind of deciding which way you want to go. And, you see in the image, you have one rod that's kind of bolted to the wall. And then there's another rod that's free, and the person is standing with a globe in their hand. It's like they want the world, right? They're looking out at the world. So here you're trying to make a decision. You're kind of looking in a new direction. You're at the beginning of the week, you have a choice between 2 directions, and you're kind of focusing more on the newer direction and thinking that it's going to bring you the world, right? but you haven't made your decision yet. And what it is this can be family related, this can be work related, this might be just a, these are the minors, so this could be a, just a little decision. Maybe you're deciding between two options for something. Maybe you're deciding where to go on vacation. Maybe you're deciding, if you're replacing a appliance, you're like, okay, which one do I go with? But here I am getting the vibe that it's a little bit more of a weightier decision. But you are very torn. You don't, the new option seems, the newer option seems really appealing. You see how the person's turning towards that other rod. They're not really, they kind of have their back turned to the rod that's already bolted down. So this could be you going in a new direction as well. Maybe, maybe you've been doing the same job for a while and you have the opportunity to do something slightly different, but you're deciding, okay, do I want to go in that direction or do I want to continue doing what I've been doing? It can be a relationship or home related, okay, do I want to stay in this area or do I want to move, but what it was is that when I went to clarify it, you got another two. You got the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is the heart versus head, right? You're kind of at a stalemate, right? The person's holding the two swords equally, and she's under the moon, and the water behind her is kind of going up and down, right? Kind of going up and down. And actually what I think is kind of neat is you kind of have water in the background of this card too, but it's not as rocky. But in the water and the swords card, it's a lot, it's the water is not still. It's very, it's troubled waters, right? It's stormy water, which usually indicates that this decision that you're making, it does have emotional consequences, not bad ones, but you are feeling you're feeling torn. You're feeling torn. It's almost like you don't know if you should stick with the existing rod or if you should try the new idea or the new direction. And you're really at an impasse. Like it's almost like there's equal evidence for both. It's possible that both might make you happy. Maybe you've been perfectly happy doing what you're doing now, and then, but this new opportunity, and I'm definitely getting the feeling like this is a choice. It can't be both, right? It has to be one or the other. Now, so at the beginning of the week, you have your options ahead of you. You have to make a choice, but you're very torn. The jury is still out by the beginning of the week. Now, this is really interesting. And I swear to you, this is the first time I have ever seen this much polarity in a spread. Because if you could see this, we've got the two here and the two underneath it. Then, the middle of the week, you got the Chariot. And the Chariot is victory. But when you look at it, the Chariot has two Sphinx, and they're going opposite directions, right? But the Charioteer is, what he does is he reins them both in, right? He reins them both in. Now, underneath the Chariot, and these came out together, you have the Fool, which is another major arcana, pointing back, and then you have a Page of Wands pointing right? Pointing the other direction. So what I'm really getting here, and honestly, the chariot is victory. The chariot is kind of full speed ahead. It's someone who charges. It's someone who uses the energy of the opposing forces to promote movement. Like, he controls the two opposite sphinx and gets them to go in one direction, right? So what I'm seeing here is that, first off, in this card, the chariot, normally in the Chariot card in the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Charioteer is looking straight ahead, right? So he's not looking one way or the other. In this deck, he's looking to the left, right? Correct. Sorry, looking to the left, correct? Left, right. All right. But, and when you see it, at the beginning of the week, you saw that this person was kind of leaning towards the left too, which is the new wand, right? The new wand. And it looks like the character is looking the same direction. And what's interesting is that the direction, the card that came underneath, the card that kind of went with this Sphinx, this Sphinx, is the Fool. And the Fool is a very powerful major arcana card. It's the first card. It's card number 0. It's starting off on a journey, right? It's a very, it holds a lot of power because it's a major arcana. It's almost, the other thing with the Fool is it's knowing, it's having faith that things are going to work out your way, right? So I do think that what I'm sensing here is that of the two decisions, if it is a choice between staying with something that you have been doing or going to something new, you are leaning towards the rod that is the new rod, right? You are leaning towards the rod that is not bolted towards the wall. But and you've got the Chariot and the Fool. It's almost like that's what you want to do. That's where you haven't gone yet. You're still deciding what you're going to do, and you're torn about it. There's a stalemate about it. But where you're pointing, because this is pointing this way, Fool is pointing this way, Chariot, the Charioteer is looking that direction. You really want this world. You think this new idea or this new direction is going to give you the world. And you're really gung-ho about it. You're almost being foolish and wanting to jump for it, right? You want to jump for it. You want to go in that direction. That's where your heart is kind of telling you to go. But the only thing is that the other direction, and what I think is really interesting, this is a crazy synchronicity. If you can see this, you see how the one Sphinx is the same color as the Fool, and this Sphinx is purple and it's the same color as the Page. Again, by the middle of the week, have you ever thought, I'm almost seeing the expression like you still don't know which direction to go, but it's almost, have you ever seen it when you try to drive a car and you have both, you're hitting the gas and the brake at the same time? It's like that. It's like you want to put a lot of energy towards the Fool direction, but you still have the choice between this sticking with what you're doing already. Now, sticking with what you're doing already is showing that Sphinx and that side of it. This side, the wand on this side with the wand on the right, the Sphinx on the right, and the Page that's facing that direction of the wand to the right. I hope this is making sense. I'm seeing it. I wish I had an overhead camera so you could see it better too. But that one, so the feelings that you have is basically this new idea you're feeling really gung-ho about, but I get the feeling like the only reason that you're still in a stalemate and you haven't, given it the green light is because you almost feel like it's larger than life, right? You know how when you get a new idea, it's always exciting? Like with the Ace of Wands, when it's the ace and it's the only idea that you have, you're all excited about it because it's the first, right? But then once that idea has been around for a while and it's bolted to the wall, then it's like, well, here's this new thing, right? I think it's almost like you're excited about the new thing. You want to go straight for the new thing, but you're almost, that's where you're leaning. But the other thing is that the new thing is in the past. It's this is past, present, future. So I'm almost getting this feeling like I'm almost, the real vibe I'm getting is that maybe a long time ago you had a choice of two different things. You started doing the one thing, like you went ahead and obligated to the one thing, and now all of a sudden you're getting the opportunity to go with that other thing that you didn't choose, and you're real excited about it. You want to go full speed ahead about it, but you're almost kind of torn because you're feeling all gung-ho about this new thing, but then it is new, right? What if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to? And but your feelings, the feelings that you have about this existing thing, or the thing, if the feelings that you're having about the thing, that if you stayed and stuck with what you're doing already, and again, this can be relationship related too. If you're deciding between, and this sounds kind of bad, but if you're deciding between a relationship, if you stay in your current relationship, you got the Page of Wands. So it's almost like you're excited for both options. You're excited for both options, but there's definitely more oomph towards the new option. But I really get the feeling like this new option isn't entirely new. It's probably like a representment of something, because it's in the position of being from the past. It's in the position of being from the past. So I do think that you kind of, you know what direction you want to go in, but you do still, the other thing is that the page is not a bad energy. The Page of Wands is also very exciting. It's very gung-ho. You could very easily put just as much encouragement and energy into what you have existing. But the page is it is a little bit immature. It's not the most mature energy. Neither is the Fool, but the Fool being the major, and this person is clearly a little bit more adult. I just really get the feeling that your energy or your sense of drive is towards this new idea, but it would mean that, and again, it really does, and I'm getting a strong feeling, because something about this being on the left side, it's almost like you had a missed opportunity with something and it came back into play. And you're all like, ooh, I get a second chance to do this. And I really think it'll give me the world. It'll make me happy. And you want to step off the cliff and just go for it. You want to turn your chariot in that direction and just, run for it. But what you're doing existing is not bad either. And what you're doing existing does seem like it has potential to become more. Like you might even be able to stick with what you're doing existing and have it grow. So there's a lot of new opportunity too, but kind of like on a fledgling scale. But I do get the feeling like you are looking at this new old opportunity as if something that you'd really like to take advantage of. But again, at the beginning of the week, the jury's going to still be out. I think you are still going to be torn by the middle of the week, but it is almost like you have the reins in your hand and you're turning it towards the new rod, the opportunity that's presenting itself. And then by the end of the week, you got some really great energy. By the end of the week, you got the World, which is a completion card. It's the last card of the major arcana. The other thing about the World is that in the four corners, you have the 4 fixed signs. So it really does mean a completion. It means that, the direction that you go in is going to find some kind of completion. Now, underneath the World, you do have the 9 of Wands, which is a little bit, it is a little bit of that worn out card. You might kind of by the end of the week, you're going to feel like you made it, but just barely, right? You're going to feel like, now this is great too. This might be one last interpretation. At the beginning of the week, what might be happening is you might be finishing one project and being presented with a new one. And this quote unquote new project, I am still getting a strong vibe because it's the positioning of it. I really do think that maybe you were, how sometimes sometimes you'll be given a higher project. I know this sounds stupid to compare it to this, but when I was a teenager, I used to go horseback riding, and there was this one horse that I really, really wanted to ride, but he required a little bit more of an experienced rider, so they would never let me ride that horse because they were like, no, you need to get a little bit stronger before you can handle that, right? And so what I did is I rode I continued to ride the more green horses until they finally said, okay, I think you're up to par. I'm almost getting kind of that vibe. Like maybe there was some kind of project that you wanted, and they kept saying, no, we need to see that you're a little bit more experienced. So they gave you like maybe a smaller project, and now you are almost finished with the smaller project, and now they're coming back and saying, okay, that original project you wanted, I think you're ready now, but you have to finish up the first project first. So, but with the Fool and the Page of Wands, I do get a feeling like the project that you're already on has a lot of potential. It's fulfilling, right? But I do think that this opportunity coming back around is something that you've been eager for. It's something you really want to jump at. But by the end of the week, I think you're going to be completing one of them. The one project that you need to complete, you're going to be done. I do think that you kind of have to burn the midnight oil to get it done, because you're going to feel a little worn out. You're going to either that, or you might feel like you have to kind of work at two things at once. That's another thing that I can kind of read this as, is that, again, maybe you really wanted this other project because maybe you're overlapping two things, and you have to maintain both of them. So eventually the one will come completed, and then the other one will pick up. But it takes a lot of energy, and I think you're almost kind of worn out. But by the end of the week, I do feel like you're going to be wrapping up one. But there's definitely some duality here. It does look like you're going in two different directions at the same time, and it's taking a lot of your energy. But by the end of the week, I do see the world is completing a cycle. The other thing is you might be getting some recognition for the work that you've been doing on both of these projects. The last way I kind of read it too is that if you do have to kind of cover both of these things before you can do what you want to do outright, is that you might be in the home stretch. That's kind of what I'm seeing here too, because you got 9 and then completion. So I think that you might be a little worn out, but you're in the home stretch. Also, your oracle card says homeland, arrival, the journey ends, establishment, building, settled, right? And the world is about getting settled. I really think homeland and the world, that's like the same energy, guys. That's like the same energy. So I do think that you are finishing up a cycle. One other way that I can kind of read this too is that if you do have to make this is like relationship related, you might have to kind of take responsibility and completely complete. Like again, if you are going to go one way and no longer stay with the other idea, you do kind of need to you might feel a little worn out with it, because again, I do feel like between the two, it's like you really want to start something new, but the completion of what you've already been doing has taken a lot of energy. But you are in the home stretch. The journey is wrapping up, and I think you're going to feel that energy. You're probably going to be a little worn out, but it is going to be kind of a good energy. Like, okay, I'm done now. I've completed everything. I've done what I needed to do. Now, the other thing that you have is self-forgiveness. Let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child. So the other thing that I am getting here too is that I am getting a strong sense of being torn. Again, this whole reading is about like making a choice, and you see this person looks like he's been through the war. So it is possible that the other thing with this is, with all this duality, with all this, because 2 is choice. With all this duality, it really is kind of saying, if you have to make a choice and you have to justify your reason for making a choice, try not to beat yourself up if that doesn't, because by not staying with the one project, you might be relinquishing some responsibility. And by doing that, you might feel like, you might, again, the Page of Wands is a juvenile energy. It's not the most mature. So sometimes, going for the other idea, especially with the Fool's energy, you might come across as either kind of fickle or like you're chasing rainbows a little bit, And this new idea is not a bad one, but the only thing is that it is going in a backwards direction. It's almost like you're going backwards and not forwards, and you're eager to go backwards. So this could be going back to someone or back to a previous job that by going backwards, it might make you look a little bit like wishy-washy, or that you're just, running after whatever is the coolest thing right now, because that's a page energy as well. But definitely by the end of the week, I think that you will have put a lot of effort and energy into concluding the cycle and, very clearly finishing one thing and very clearly choosing the other, whatever choice that is. And so there might be some self-forgiveness. Again, there might be some guilt that's involved, maybe that one project is not completed the way that it should be before you run off to doing what you want to do. But I do think that you tried your best. The only other thing I can think of is that there might be a little bit, the wands are normally more action oriented, but sometimes when I see the Nine of Wands, it's almost, I kind of almost see it like a little bit of a slander card, like you've been beat up, like you've really had to defend yourself. So again, maybe you had to defend yourself in going for what you wanted, but you are going to very clearly complete this circle and go, and you are in the home stretch too. That's the other thing, is that I really feel like you're almost done. You're almost to a position, and you do, you want to be kind to yourself too. I think that all of this situation has required a lot of energy, so you don't want to let yourself get too worn down. You might need a little bit of a break by the end of the week. But wow, guys, that's a very good read. I really enjoyed these cards. It was nice having the Oracle cards in addition, and I do hope that you have a good National Oceans Day. I'm not sure what you would do on a National Oceans Day. I mean, I always try to be mindful of, of making sure that I recycle and that nothing goes in the water that shouldn't go in the water, and that, and that, any way that you can help support that effort is always a very positive thing. But I hope you have a great week and a good first half of June. I will be back on Tuesday with the How to Tarot. We are going to be starting off with the first card of the Pentacles suit. So we're going to be talking about the Ace of Pentacles. I hope you can join me then, and I'll catch you later. Bye.